Good evening. The final preparations are underway, setting the stage for the first World Series game in this city in over 3 decades.
The Toronto Blue Jays held their media day today. The Los Angeles Dodgers arrived in town last night, and the fans are ready for the Fall Classic, which gets underway in just over 24 hours. CTV's Allison Hurst spoke with fans and players today. Allison, excitement sure is building in the city.
Michelle, it absolutely is. We could really feel it when we were talking to fans outside very early this morning, as well as the players, when we had a chance to chat with quite a number of them today, all ahead of Game 1 tomorrow. Preparations are in full swing as the Blue Jays get ready to host the Dodgers for Game 1 of the World Series.
Everybody says it's a dream come true, which it is.
Coming off a big Game 7 win, a world of media attention has descended on Toronto, and players are trying to keep calm and have fun for the Fall Classic.
I played some of my best baseball in my backyard as a kid, so I try to bring that with me out there, and hopefully that can be a little contagious, and the boys can just relax and enjoy it, because it's a special moment that it may never happen again.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. says he was in touch with his mom earlier today.
She say she's proud of me, and no matter what will happen, she always going to be proud of me.
Fans are also proud the boys of summer lasted into the fall and are feeling good about their chances.
We're on a run, and we got them. No problem.
My gut doesn't lie. It's saying Jays in 6.
We're an underdog, but I think the boys can come through.
Tomorrow's starting pitcher, rookie Trey Yesavage, knows they're playing for a huge fan base.
We represent this entire country, and we're this country's team. So we want to go out there and do everything we can to make this country proud of us.
For manager John Schneider, this is a career in the making.
I'm just thankful and humbled that I'm the one doing it, leading them into the World Series.
The LA Dodgers arrived in Toronto last night, bringing with them their star-studded lineup, drawing huge international attention. Starting pitcher and heavy hitter Shohei Ohtani, who was rumored to come to Toronto for the 2024 season.
He was a once-in-a-lifetime guy on your roster, but here we are, and I'm going to have to face him at some point.
Fans lined up early and all day, hoping to get a piece of the merchandise.
One of those nice World Series hats and maybe a T-shirt.
I was able to get some stuff for the older ones, but not for the baby. They have stuff for babies, but not World Series branded stuff.
Excitement and anticipation mounting ahead of Game 1. And one of the biggest questions that still remains is whether or not we're going to see Bo Bichette in that starting lineup tomorrow. Manager John Schneider was asked that question earlier today. He said he's going to watch him during the workout tonight, talk to him and his teammates about it, and trust them before making his final decision. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Allison. And among all the baseball star power in the Dome today, a political player took the field. The Prime Minister, Mark Carney, stopping by, and he's got a prediction for how this World Series will go.
Also tonight, baseball isn't the only game making headlines. An NBA player and coach are among several people arrested in a mafia-linked gambling investigation. In other news, a major fire inside a waste transfer station in Etobicoke kept crews busy overnight and into today.
At one point, more than 100 firefighters were on scene actively fighting the fire. CTV's Beth McDonnell is live tonight from the scene with the latest. Beth.
Michelle, this is a big industrial fire near the airport. Firefighters worked through the night and today to bring the fire under control and then get it out. Tonight, crews are still working on hotspots. As up to 100 firefighters rushed in to fight the industrial fire, thick smoke spread.
When the crews arrived, there was smoke coming from all the exits.
The fire broke out just after 10:30 at night inside a waste transfer site on Disco Drive near Carlingview Drive. It's a place where trucks come to dump debris into piles. These piles, which include heavy equipment and construction materials, caught fire.
It's a mixed pile, mixed debris, so there's a lot of construction material. There's plastics and whatnot, and the piles are very high. It's about a 50,000 square foot facility. So there's a lot of debris in there.
The fire prompted several concerns nearby: runoff into Mimico Creek, flight paths to Pearson, and people in office towers. Crews say some facilities were closed, the airport was notified, and measures were put in place to protect the waterway.
Toronto Water is on scene right now. They've got bales of hay and dikes in the event that it goes. Right now it's under control. There's no risk of that being impacted at all.
Firefighters say the site, run by company York One, was empty when the fire erupted, and no one was hurt. It has been a bit of a headache, though, for truckers encountering closed roads and some doing business in the area.
Well, I saw a little bit of smoke when I came in, that's all. And I had to get redirected 2 different ways to get in here.
Firefighters say the fire was contained in the middle of the night, but it wasn't until around mid-afternoon most of the smoke dissipated. The big challenge throughout the day was working to access all the piles of debris. Each one must be checked to ensure all the hot spots are out. No cause for the fire has been determined, but firefighters say fires can happen at waste transfer sites like this one, especially in that debris. And crews and officials will be here for up to another 24 hours, making sure everything is okay. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Nathan and Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. York Regional Police say one person was hurt in a shooting outside a home in Newmarket this morning, which was already the scene of an incident in recent days. Police were called to Hewitt Circle near Bathurst and Mullock Drive just after 4:30 a.m. They say a male suspect in dark clothing arrived in a light-colored SUV. He then fired several rounds towards the home and cars parked in the driveway. Police say the victim was inside one of those cars at the time.
The suspect vehicle fled the scene immediately after the shots were fired. When we arrived on scene, we learned that a victim suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries, and they have been taken to a local hospital. This is the second time the residence has been struck by gunfire, and we are treating this as a targeted incident. We are working to determine the connection between the victim and the residence.
Investigators are asking anyone with information, video surveillance, or dash cam footage to come forward. And we have more news in a moment, but first, a look at the forecast. Here's a live shot. City looks pretty good right now. You can expect a cool down, though, tonight and into tomorrow. And I'm sure many Blue Jay fans are wondering about the World Series forecast, especially if you've got plans for tomorrow night. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the current conditions, and we see some rain.
Yeah, we have some rain right now, Nathan. Also some ice pellets in some areas around Markham. We've got a juicy little cell making its way over toward Oshawa. It's been days of these scattered lake effect rain showers, and we're not quite done with them. We will be dealing with this wet weather through the evening hours tonight, possibly overnight and into tomorrow morning before these winds start to ease. This is one of the reasons we've been seeing those rounds of showers. It is 10 degrees right now, but you may notice a lot of single-digit temperatures this hour. Only 6 degrees in London, Ontario, for example. This is your evening at a glance. Keep the umbrella handy if you are venturing out. And then about this time tomorrow, we are going to be gearing up for Game 1 of the World Series. And right now, conditions look pretty good. Partly cloudy skies, a cool temperature of about 6 degrees for first pitch. We're going to take you through the weekend forecast. Lots to look forward to when it comes to sunshine, but it is going to be chilly at times. Details are ahead. Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Ottawa tabled a bill today to crack down on violent and repeat offenders.
It comes after word the man shot dead by police in Niagara Falls Wednesday was allegedly out on bail for a crime committed 2 years ago against the same woman murdered this week. CTV's Heather Wright has the details.
On Tuesday afternoon, shots rang out at this busy shopping plaza in Brampton, Ontario. A woman shot and killed, a child abducted. The man accused was awaiting trial for domestic violence charges involving the same woman, 29-year-old Savannah Kula. It's these types of repeat and violent crimes Ottawa is hoping to crack down on, with new measures announced today.
This is a package of sweeping reforms that includes more than 80 targeted measures that will make bail laws stricter and sentencing tougher.
The federal Liberal government has been accused of being soft on crime and for allowing a so-called revolving door justice system that's too lenient on violent offenders. The changes announced today are designed to make bail more difficult to get, creating a reverse onus that falls on the accused.
The accused must provide information that clearly demonstrates they do not pose a public safety risk.
The bill also introduces a new set of aggravating factors that will lead to stiffer penalties against violent and repeat offenders, as well as those who target first responders, organized retail theft, and crimes against public infrastructure. Victims' rights advocates, police unions, and some provinces have been demanding these types of changes amid a rise in violent and high-profile crimes. But not everyone is on side. The Canadian Civil Liberties Association says there is not enough evidence that shows bail causes crime, and they worry innocent people will be held in custody as a result.
We do worry that as we erode this charter right more and more and more, we'll get into a situation where just because you are accused of something, before you have your day in court, you're held behind bars.
Asked about whether this bill will require more space in jails, the Justice Minister said provinces asked for these changes and should be developing the capacity to manage more people going through detention facilities. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
And as Heather mentioned, the proposed changes come just days after a Brampton mother of 4 was shot and killed in a shopping center parking lot. Her accused killer was her ex-partner.
Tonight, officials in Brampton say they're cautiously optimistic that the changes being proposed could keep a similar tragedy from happening. CTV's Janice Golding has more.
More details are emerging about the man alleged to have killed Savannah Kula, a 29-year-old mother of 4.
The accused, Anthony DeShepper, was previously in a relationship with Savannah. They had been separated for several months and shared a 1-year-old daughter who was present at the time of the incident. The accused was also facing firearms-related charges from September 2023, involving Savannah Kula as the victim.
Court documents obtained by CTV News read that 2 years ago, Anthony DeShepper did discharge a firearm while being reckless as to the life or safety of Savannah Rose Kula Davies. Not only that, DeShepper had other firearms prohibitions dating back to 2006 and 2019.
There are numerous reasons that the killer should have been in custody. If one of them was adhered to, Savannah would be alive today.
Handwritten notes on court documents also read, 10 months old, serious charges, needs to get moving.
We did come to learn that the suspect had a significant violent history. And yes, it was more than 2 years since the event in 2023, which he was last charged with firearms offenses. Clearly, his release posed a significant risk to Savannah and potentially others in our community.
DeShepper actually evaded police for a month after allegedly shooting off a gun in Kula's Brampton home before he was arrested by Waterloo police. And yet he was out on bail just weeks later, and his trial wasn't scheduled to take place until next year.
When someone has a documented history of violence, firearm offenses, and intimate partner abuse, releasing them on bail is not justice, it's absolute negligence.
Yesterday, Kula's mother told CTV News DeShepper was obsessed with her daughter, alleging he'd been stalking and harassing her.
Oh, he was just phoning her 50, 60, 70 times a day. You know, he had cameras installed and we didn't know.
So while Brampton's mayor and police officers say they believe the federal government's proposed bill on bail and sentencing reform is a step in the right direction, their optimism is cautious. In the meantime, whatever change comes to pass, it will not bring Savannah Kula back, and 4 children will forever feel the loss of their mother. Janice Golding, CTV News.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and Premier Doug Ford were on hand at the Darlington nuclear facility to announce $3 billion in combined investment for 4 small nuclear plants today.
But as CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris reports, the Prime Minister doesn't seem ready to hit the gas on the Premier's plans for a tunnel under the 401.
New workers. The federal and provincial governments are teaming up to build small modular reactors at Darlington, kicking in a combined $3 billion for the nuclear project, the first of its kind in the G7. This is the first of the Prime Minister's major projects in Ontario, part of a pledge to build as an antidote to the U.S. trade war.
When we bet big on the type of infrastructure we're talking about today, we realize the benefit as Ontarians, as Canadians, for generations.
Construction on the first reactor started back in May. Once all 4 are online in about 2030, they'll pump out electricity to power 1.2 million homes. The reactor is expected to generate 18,000 jobs.
We're also making sure that at least 80% of the project spending goes to Ontario companies, and we're using Ontario products at every opportunity.
A lift for steelworkers suffering under the weight of tariffs. Mark Carney predicts the effects will be long-lasting.
This is about also establishing leadership in the technology.
Canadian expertise that can be tapped into around the globe and at home.
We could put an SMR up into a mining project rather than building 1,200 kilometers of transmission lines.
The Premier invites the Prime Minister to collaborate on more nuclear projects. The provincial government is hopeful its key priority will be on the next list of special projects announced by the Prime Minister later this month. That's expediting extraction of critical minerals from Northern Ontario's Ring of Fire. What about the Premier's controversial pet project, a tunnel for cars in transit under Highway 401? In September, Doug Ford was sure Carney would get on board.
I just believe he will.
A surprised eyebrow raise from the Prime Minister when CTV News asked about Ford's confidence he'll say yes.
Well, look, we're having discussions, we're sequencing the discussions with the province of Ontario.
Not giving a yes or a no for the moment. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
The calls for the Minister of Labour to resign entered their fourth day in another tumultuous day at the legislature.
And as CTV's John Woodward reports, another minister appears to have a connection to a multi-million-dollar grant under the controversial Skills Development Fund.
He is risen. He truly is risen.
That's long-term care minister Natalia Kusendova-Bashta, appearing in videos and pictures she posted at the Church of the Virgin Mary and St. Athanasius in Mississauga. She was married there in 2021. That church applied for and got around $3.2 million in funding in 2023 to train personal care workers from the Skills Development Fund, and suddenly found itself in the middle of a controversy that has swallowed up Queen's Park.
If he wants to save the SDF fund, he should do the right thing, Speaker, and he should resign.
Opposition parties charging it's just the latest example of people with connections to the governing party getting funds and demanding Labour Minister David Piccini resign for the fourth straight day.
Minister, we can't make this stuff up. It just keeps coming. We're having a hard time keeping track. Slow down.
Speaker, I'm not going to slow down. I'm never going to slow down for the workers of this province, Speaker.
That church didn't apply alone. It partnered with Mississauga Career College for a program to train hundreds of personal support workers.
The church is a staple in giving back to the community.
College director Peter Sad said Kusendova-Bashta was not even aware of the application.
We worked tirelessly with, the department. We followed all the guides. We had a lot of back and forth.
Two other places of worship got funds too, including the Gurdwara Guru Nanak Mission Center. Doug Ford posted these photos of his visit there earlier this year. That center didn't return CTV calls today.
I don't think that's appropriate for this one.
That's how Municipal Affairs Minister Rob Flack responded to questions about the fund. One recipient, the Ontario Road Builders Association, had an executive at that unrelated news conference. Waleed Abu Hamde did answer one question.
The Skills Development Fund had played an essential role in allowing organizations like ours to train the next generation to deliver on that ambitious infrastructure priority.
But when reporters followed up,
this concludes our media conference for today.
A sure sign that the Skills Development Fund controversy is anything but concluded. John Woodward, CTV News.
How do governments spend your money? It's an age-old question taxpayers should want to know.
Now, one of the country's top think tanks is out with its latest fiscal accountability report card. CTV's Scott Hurst breaks down the grades for each province and the federal government.
It appears Ottawa is not quite making the grade in a new fiscal accountability report card. Now, we heard from the Prime Minister in his pre-budget address talking about generational investments, but also sacrifices, all the while Canadians still have not yet seen the latest federal budget. And overall, that is one of the main concerns pointed out by the C.D. Howe Institute's report card on senior governments, saying too many budgets are late and most governments take far too long to produce their financial statements. Now, here is a look at where each province ranks, with Alberta coming in top of the class with an A+, Quebec earning a B+, a whole host of provinces coming in with a B, while Ontario earned a B-, and the federal government, as we've already talked about, earning a letter grade of D. Now, the report points to the feds being late in both its budgets and financial statements, presenting estimates using different accounting, burying some key numbers deep in its budget, and also having a large gap between its projected and actual results. And to make matters worse, Ottawa is on track to be the only senior government to potentially get a failing grade next year. Now, it should be important that governments are accountable to us. We are, in fact, the tax-paying citizens. Their money is our money. And as the report states, Canadians shouldn't have to be experts in reading balance sheets and annual reports just to understand how their money is being spent. So this provides a snapshot to the tax-paying citizens and those governments, of course, in a simple letter grade format. Now, this rating on senior governments is not so much about overall results, rather accountability, meaning are they providing reliable and accessible financial reports, ensuring the public, you and me, the tax-paying citizens, can know enough about our government's spending plans. And as the report simply points out, Can taxpayers follow the money? Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
The most anticipated event of the King's state visit to Italy happened today. The monarch prayed with Pope Leo XIV. The pontiff and the Archbishop of York presided over the service on the altar of the Sistine Chapel. It focused on the unifying theme of God the Creator and was the first time since the Reformation that leaders of the two Christian churches have prayed together. The King's state visit is intended to forge closer relations between the Church of England and the Catholic Church.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, we have an update on a story we told you about last month involving a new type of boat. After a family told us their Sea-Doo switch almost sank, 2 other families contacted us to say the same thing happened to them. I'll have the new details. That's just ahead.
Well, if you have travel plans to the Caribbean or perhaps you have family in this part of the world, I am becoming a little more concerned about Tropical Storm Melissa. This is a very slow-moving storm. It is strengthening. In fact, it could become a major Category 4 hurricane by the time it impacts Jamaica. And it's not just Jamaica. Parts of Hispaniola and Cuba could also experience damaging winds, maybe some life-threatening landslides, and some flooding as a result of this system. So it's one that we're going to be keeping an eye on, certainly over the next couple of days. The weather becoming quieter here at home. We'll take you through the forecast coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
We had a story last month on a new type of boat called a Sea-Doo switch. It combines the power of a Sea-Doo with the features of a pontoon boat.
The boat has been involved in a recall, but some owners have reached out to CTV News to say they feel the boat is not safe to use. Pat Foran has an update on Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. We did a story with a family who bought one of these boats, and they say this summer it almost capsized and sank. Following our report, we heard from 2 other families who say their Sea-Doo switches also almost sank, and they're afraid to use them again. The Sea-Doo switch has the power of a Sea-Doo and the seating arrangement of a pontoon boat. Marcus Hurl of St. Isidore says when he was using his with his grandchildren this summer, after another boat passed by, his Sea-Doo switch started taking on water.
It was like a scoop that was scooping up water into the boat. Front end was submerged.
Lori and Clyde Rowan from Sault Ste. Marie saw our story and said a similar incident happened to them and their Sea-Doo switch.
Went down into a trough. The front of the boat just disappeared. A wave hit us and we could not recuperate, and it just flipped us right over. All 7 of us were in the water.
Everyone on board had to be rescued.
Somebody could have been killed. It broke my heart to think that we could have put our friends in danger.
There could be deaths from a family sinking a boat.
Paul and Sue DeCucci of Ottawa say their Sea-Doo switch has taken on water and almost sank twice.
Just take the boat back and you work on whatever you need to work on to make this thing seaworthy, because I don't trust it.
There have also been cases of Sea-Doo switches flipping over in the U.S. Bombardier Recreational Products issued a safety recall earlier this year and said overloading the front of the boat could result in serious injury or death. It also released a safety video.
Do not allow passengers to sit or gather at the front of the boat that would overload the bow. It may result in the boat nosediving, leading to capsizing.
Bombardier told CTV News safety is our top priority and the Sea-Doo switch complies with small vessel regulations. The company added in a new statement, "We invite customers to reach out to their local dealers to perform the necessary recall procedures to mitigate the risk of nosediving and discuss any concerns they might have." But the 3 owners that contacted us say they want refunds for their boats and won't feel safe using them again.
Recall or no recall, I don't care. I'm not putting my grandchildren on that boat. Never.
And Transport Canada told CTV News it's working with the U.S. Coast Guard to collect and analyze information on the incidents with the Sea-Doo switch. It says it plans to determine the appropriate follow-up actions with the manufacturer. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, boating season is behind us, but baseball season is in full swing. And as you'd expect at this point in October, you know, it's not too warm.
Right, but what we didn't expect, I guess, for me, was the Jays are heading to the World Series tomorrow. This
We're not
just
over
in,
it,
yeah.
are we? We're still letting it sink in. And I liked what Allison said earlier. The boys of summer have become the boys of fall.
Oh, yes.
And maybe even the boys of November. We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. Yes, we are all very excited for tomorrow. The forecast is looking pretty good this weekend. If you like sunshine and if you can handle some slightly cooler temperatures, especially at night. So we'll talk about that. Let's show you what it looked like a little earlier today. Hey, this is kind of cool. A rainbow early this morning over the GTA. And it's not the only one. I actually saw a rainbow last night when I was out in Milton, Ontario. I've seen a couple of photos tonight from viewers seeing and spotting rainbows in and around the GTA as well. This is because we've been dealing with these rounds of showers. We've got very scattered, isolated in nature, clouds and showers. And so the sun is peeking through just enough to create some of those rainbows that we're seeing out there, double rainbows in some cases too. But we've also had some ice pellets in some areas, as mentioned before, and some heavy downpours. This is one more look at the satellite and radar imagery, and you can see based on the green that the showers persist for this evening. And as we take a look a little further to the north, there is some mixing and some light snow happening for communities east of Lake Superior and around the Thunder Bay area. So a sign of things to come when it comes to the weather. We are finally saying goodbye to this area of low pressure. It is moving northward. We're going to see the winds start to weaken, so that will lessen the likelihood of lake effect rain showers. Just going to pause that for 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Important baseball game happening. Mostly clear skies, a little bit of cloud in the mix. Temperatures are going to start to cool, and we're drying out for the weekend. So there's some good news. Lots of sunshine to look forward to for both Saturday and for Sunday. 10 degrees currently at Pearson Airport, a little cooler for areas further to the north. We're forecasting an overnight low tonight of 4 degrees. 4 is also our seasonal average when it comes to overnight temperatures. And tomorrow, once again, we expect to be near normal, 12 degrees for the high. Once again, mainly cloudy skies, varying amounts of sunshine, and holding on to the chance of a shower, but it generally speaking will be a drier day. Single-digit highs in Stratford and Orangeville for tomorrow. How about Haliburton? A little bit of mixing possible for you tomorrow with an afternoon high of only 6. Here's a look at your pumpkin patch forecast for the next few days. Get outside and enjoy a more typical October weekend. I know we've been pretty spoiled so far this month. Almost every day in October has been warmer than normal. That changes for the final week of the month. Here's a look at what you can expect. Daytime highs, not so much the concern. It's the overnight lows. 1 degree Saturday and Sunday night, 0 for Monday, and maybe only a high in the single digits, around 9 degrees for next Tuesday. That's the weather. Michelle, over to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Also tonight, top-tier talent on tap for the World Series here in Toronto. And we're not just talking baseball. We tee up the performers set for games 1 and 2. As excitement builds for the start of the World Series, MLB has recruited some star power to help kick off the biggest event in baseball.
Pharrell Williams and gospel choir Voices of Fire will take to the field before the game tomorrow.
The show is about to begin.
Ask yourself now, are you ready?
This is the postseason.
The league shared this preview of the Grammy winner and the Virginia-based Voices of Fire preparing to welcome fans to the World Series. The production team says the goal is to highlight the themes of unity and togetherness in honoring baseball as a global sport. The choir will also sing both national anthems, accompanied by local musicians for O Canada. And then at Game 2 of the World Series, the Jonas Brothers will take to the stage with a special performance of their song, I Can't Lose. The track is the theme song of their campaign, raising awareness as ambassadors of the MasterCard Stand Up to Cancer campaign. Speaking of music, later in the hour, we'll get a sneak peek at a special tribute to the Blue Jays from a major theatrical production here in Toronto. That's coming up.
And Broadway fans can breathe a sigh of relief. 2 labor disputes that might have closed the curtains have been resolved. Nearly 24 musicals might have gone silent as early as today. The union representing 1,200 Broadway musicians said members were ready to strike after contract talks with producers went into mediation. But the two sides say they have reached a deal and the show will go on. The union representing U.S. stage actors reached its own agreement with the Broadway League over the weekend.
The team behind Stranger Things is sharing some big news as the series prepares to come to a close.
I think about that night all the time.
Netflix says the 2-hour finale of Stranger Things will debut on streaming and in theaters simultaneously on New Year's Eve. It's been more than 3 years since the coming-of-age sci-fi show debuted its 4th season. Company officials had previously told Variety a theatrical release wasn't in the cards, despite a push from creators, the Duffer Brothers. The first episodes of Stranger Things Season 5 will be out November 26th.
Foo Fighters are out with a new single as they announce plans for a North American tour. The song is called Asking for a Friend. Dave Grohl says it's about holding on to hope, and he said a recent show in California reminded the Foo Fighters of their passion for performing. They'll be hitting the road with Queens of the Stone Age for their Take Cover tour next year, starting here in Toronto August 4th at Rogers Stadium.
After the break, a gambling scheme with ties to organized crime. Former Raptor turned coach Chauncey Billups and another NBA player are among over 30 people arrested.
We represent this entire country, and we're this country's team. So we want to go out there and do everything we can to make this country proud of us.
Updating our top stories just over 24 hours ahead of the start of the World Series, and the Toronto Blue Jays were making last-minute preparations today. Manager John Schneider announced 22-year-old rookie Trey Yesavage will get the start for Game 1 against the Los Angeles Dodgers. First pitch is set for tomorrow night, just after 8 o'clock.
There are numerous reasons that the killer should have been in custody. If one of them was adhered to, Savannah would be alive today.
Officials in Brampton say they hope new legislation unveiled by the federal government may help prevent a repeat of the murder of a mother of 4 earlier this week. 29-year-old Savannah Kula was shot and killed in a shopping center parking lot. Her accused killer was also her ex-partner. The new legislation puts the onus on the accused to prove they should get bail and includes a series of factors.
When the crews arrived, there was smoke coming from all the exits.
And a massive fire at a waste transfer facility in Etobicoke kept firefighters busy overnight and into the morning. The fire broke out just after 10:30 last night, and at one point there were more than 100 firefighters on scene. No one was injured in the fire.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video of breaking news, let us know.
It is earnings season. BNN Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez has the latest numbers from Ford, which was affected by a fire at one of its key suppliers.
Ford reported a profit of $2.4 billion U.S. for its third quarter. That's double what it made in the same quarter last year. The company is seeing strong sales of trucks and SUVs, but a fire at a key aluminum supplier could cost Ford as much as $2 billion. They rely on the metal to build pickup trucks. Ford is revising its earnings outlook as a result. It now forecasts to be $6 to $6.5 billion. That's $1 billion less than what it was. And car sales helped to drive retail sales in August. They were up 1% to just over $70 billion. Sales of cars and parts moved up 1.8%, with more new vehicles being purchased than used. But gas sales were down in August. They dropped 2.6%. Rogers Communications beat expectations for its latest quarter. The company did well in wireless and media. Total revenue came in at about $5.4 billion, up 4% from last year. Rogers gained 62,000 wireless subscribers, and in media, the Blue Jays' extended season helped to boost its bottom line. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up a fraction to 71.49. West Texas Intermediate crude shot up over $3 to 61.79. Western Canadian Select also gained over $1, moving to 46.10. And the TSX gained 203 points today, moving back up over 30,000. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
In other business news, Lululemon has received a U.S. trademark, including a term that's getting more attention in recent years. Dupes is short for duplicates, and it refers to items that are created with a goal of closely resembling a brand name product. The Vancouver-based company now owns the trademark for specifically Lululemon dupes. The retailer hasn't commented on its move to seek that protection, but it comes as it sues Costco for infringing on its intellectual property. Costco's also previously refused comment. Toys R Us Canada is warning customers their personal information may have been accessed in a cybersecurity incident. The company sent an email to customers who were affected saying names, addresses, email, and phone numbers were included in the hacked materials. The company says it began the investigation in the summer, and the breach did not involve credit card information.
Toronto's Billy Bishop Airport is preparing for a major increase in cross-border travelers as Air Canada launches new routes to the United States. Starting next spring, the airline will offer nonstop return service to New York's LaGuardia Airport 4 times a day. There will be 3 daily flights to Boston's Logan Airport, 2 to Chicago's O'Hare Airport, and a daily flight to Dulles Airport in Washington. Porter Airlines has been operating flights from Billy Bishop to U.S. cities for some time, but Air Canada is taking this step as the island airport prepares to open U.S. pre-clearance facilities in the coming months, meaning travelers can go through customs before takeoff.
We've had a long-standing desire to grow our footprint here. We have a growing segment of brand loyal customers that find this airport appealing. And certainly this has been a long-standing desire to grow our operations here. And today we make it possible in collaboration or partnership with Newport and Ports Toronto.
While there's been a drop in leisure travel to the States, Air Canada says business travel has kept up. The company also noted an increase in Americans coming to this side of the border to take advantage of the exchange rate.
After years of delays, the province says plans to open the Finch West LRT are close to the finish line. The Ministry of Transportation says final testing is complete on the 11-kilometer, 18-stop route in northwest Toronto. Following a successful 30-day trial run, officials say the TTC will assume full operational control of the line no later than November 3rd. It'll then turn it into Transit Systems Line 6 between Humber College and Finch West Station, carrying a projected 51,000 passengers each weekday. The TTC says it's encouraged by today's news, but didn't say when the new LRT would start accepting passengers. Meanwhile, the Eglinton Crosstown LRT is undergoing its own dry run testing with no specific opening date set. But Metrolinx is making some major changes to prepare for service along the future Line 5. The delayed project runs as far west as Mount Dennis, and while the Eglinton line isn't running yet, officials say the new transit hub there will open November 16th. It'll serve as a stop for Kitchener Line GO trains and UP Express trains while work continues on the crosstown.
It's being called a historic takedown, allegedly involving mafia families and both former and current NBA players and a coach. U.S. authorities accusing more than 30 people of being involved in 2 separate schemes, including sports betting and rigged poker games. With the latest, here's CTV's John Vanavallarao.
The stunning charges coming just days after a brand new NBA season tipped off, with these current and former players, including a Hall of Famer, among those accused, following investigations involving sports betting and rigged poker games linked to the mafia.
We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery.
U.S. authorities laying out 2 separate schemes. The first involving Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, who was arrested along with former NBA player Damon Jones. Investigators say they provided information about games to co-defendants who used it to place illegal bets.
The non-public information included when specific players would be sitting out future games or when they would pull themselves out early for purported injuries or illnesses.
You got to keep fighting. Authorities say one example took place when Rozier was playing for the Charlotte Hornets in 2023. They say he let others secretly know he planned to leave a game early with a supposed injury.
Rozier exited the game after just 9 minutes, and those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands of dollars in profit.
For more than a year, authorities in New York have been looking into illegal gambling after Toronto Raptors player Jonte Porter was caught disclosing information to bettors. The NBA banned him for life. Authorities say the second indictment involves Jones and the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, Chauncey Billups, who allegedly took part in illegal poker games rigged by the mafia using high-tech cheating devices, including X-ray tables that could read cards.
Victims were attracted to play alongside well-known professional athletes and coaches like Chauncey Billups, only to be unknowingly deceived through rigged shuffling machines.
The NBA says Billups and Rozier are being put on immediate leave and that it'll continue to cooperate with authorities. John Venavali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
The Blue Jays are getting shout-outs from a variety of fans as they gear up for the World Series, and now their fellow Toronto sports teams are sending their support. The Toronto Raptors changed their social media logo to a photo of their iconic team dinosaur decked out in Blue Jays gear. And they also reminded fans that they can stay in their seats in Scotiabank Arena after tomorrow's home opener against Milwaukee to watch the World Series there. The Toronto Maple Leafs changed their profile pic to one of their team logos with the words, "Let's go Blue Jays," adding, "Toronto wants it all." And the Toronto Argonauts joined in with the special Blue Jays version of their own logo, adding, "Want it all? We're with you, Blue Jays."
And you can count the Prime Minister among the legion of Blue Jays fans looking forward to the World Series. Mark Carney stopped by Rogers Centre today during a team practice.
You can sense that this is a real team. You can sense the guys pulling for each other. You know they'll be pulling for Trey Yesavage when he gets out there on this mound tomorrow night. And, you know, there's a lesson, I think, in how this team's performed for the country, which they perform as a team and they take risks. So John Schneider, the manager's taking calculated risks. He's ambitious. We're going to fight hard.
Carney's made his prediction, picking the Jays in 6 games, but he won't be able to attend in person. The Prime Minister is leaving the country for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. Meanwhile, Carney says U.S. President Donald Trump has not yet returned his call about making a bet on the series.
And 3 Blue Jays are finalists for this year's Silver Slugger Award. First baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going for his 2nd consecutive Silver Slugger. DH George Springer and shortstop Bo Bichette are also finalists this year. Major League Baseball hands out awards each year to the top offensive players at each position. The winners will be announced November 7th.
And just ahead, as Jays fever grips the GTA, the cast of We Will Rock You is getting in on the excitement, putting their own spin on a classic anthem.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Finally tonight, a hit musical has made a timely tweak to one of its biggest songs.
Today, performers in the upcoming Toronto production of We Will Rock You took the time to show some Blue Jays pride during rehearsals. CTV's Jessica Smith has more.
I've had my share of sand kicked in my face, but I've come
through. The cast of We Will Rock You, the musical, took some time out of rehearsals to put their own spin on a Queen classic in honor of the Blue Jays.
We have been working on the song, Galileo and I, and then we got all the cast yesterday, so we learned the song yesterday. Thankfully, we all know this song. And then, yeah, we just were like, this is the best way to support and show our love.
In celebration of the Jays' epic Game 7 win to clinch the American League East and advance to the World Series, the cast of the upcoming Rivers production remixed a cover of We Are the Champions.
Of the World Series.
Singing We Are the Champions with what's going on in Toronto right now is just like a perfect fit. Even like other Queen songs like I Want It All or We Will Rock You, like there are anthems that are perfect for what's going on during the World Series.
A musical ode to Freddie Mercury and Queen to help rally fans behind Canada's team.
And if anything, they're the underdog, which I think is totally represented by Freddie Mercury and his music and his magnetism and his reach. So I think you're drawing an apt comparison there.
The new production features an all-Canadian cast beaming with national pride.
The Jays are kind of more than Canada's team at this point because I'm not sure anyone is in the Dodgers camp anymore, which might mean that the Jays are the world's team.
Go Jays, go!
The cast is hoping to celebrate a World Series win and the opening of their show, We Will Rock You, the musical, here at the CAA at Mirvish Theatre that runs from November 28th through to January 4th of 2026. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
Everybody's a Blue Jay fan now.
Right, everybody. Get on the bandwagon, everyone. Why not? This hasn't happened in 32 years.
There's room for everyone. Come aboard. And yeah, we have to talk about the weather tomorrow because I think that that's what everyone is planning for at this point. Daytime temperature is going to be nice and seasonal, and slowly but surely we are going to dry out. Here's our expected highs. But of course, all eyes will be on Friday night. And on Saturday night, 2 games happening at Rogers Centre. Here's a look at what you can expect around first pitch. It's going to be a little cooler Saturday night as fans are leaving downtown. Look at these overnight lows over the weekend. 1 degree, 0 into the early part of next week, but a nice sunny stretch will follow us right through the middle of next week as well. So we'll take that. Michelle and Nathan.
We sure will. Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but you can join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.